Hello, beautiful star family, and welcome to an online winter solstice temple. For those of you who are deep in your bear cave, I wanted to create something that we can all share together in our own little caves, but all sort of tune into one another's energy and into the energy of the winter solstice. And so if you'd like to join for this next little while, I'd love to guide you on a journey to deeper understanding of this winter solstice energy, this time of year, really tuning and tapping in, and also the creation of some magic, of a gift that can be used to create magic in your own life, but also to be a very powerful and inexpensive yet beautiful and potent gift that you can give to loved ones and to friends, and that is the creation of a magical symbol, also known as a sigil, as a blessing, as a prayer, as protection for you or for a loved one during these times. So if you'd like to join us for the journey, here's what you might want to grab, and of course you can pause the video after you hear what you might need and take a minute and collect all of those things and come back. And so what I'm recommending is that you wear something that feels really cozy. You create a really beautiful space just to feel comfortable in, and any kind of special items to you, whether they be crystals or candles, pictures of loved ones, incense, anointing oils, anything that helps to bring you more into a space of connection and sacredness with your own being. So go ahead and take a minute, and if you need to, you can pause the video and go grab those things, and then we'll settle back in here in a second. All right, so I'm hoping by now you've paused and restarted and you have everything that you need to be comfortable. And we're just going to do a little bit of a drop-in and creation of sacred space together. So coming into a comfortable and seated position and closing your eyes. And beginning to focus in on your breath. The deep, long inhale followed by a slow exhale. Letting your breath out on a sigh that releases tension from your body and from your mind. Practicing filling up and then letting go. And maybe just putting your hands on your body. I like to put my hands on my heart and on my solar plexus or my womb, whatever feels good for you right now. Just touching this beautiful temple body that you live in. Breathing in gratitude, even with different aches and pains and the struggles we might have to deal with on the physical plane. There's still so much to be grateful for these bodies that do so much for us every day. So just giving thanks. Thank you, body. Thank you for carrying me, for being my home. Letting yourself drop in a little bit deeper to settle in just a little bit more. Seeing if you can allow for softness and easefulness to come into your body and into your being. becoming aware of the energy of the season, the quiet and the dark. As you begin to settle in, letting all that's happened up to this point sort of fall away, all that's going to come, not really worrying about it too much right now, just dropping into this moment here and now with your breath and with your body, with the earth beneath you and the sky above. Let's go ahead and call in the directions, bringing awareness. Let's go ahead and start with below. All that is below, all that is unknown and below the surface, the subconscious, the unconscious. Feeling down into the earth below you, imagining roots growing out far and wide into the earth, into the soil, spreading, reaching, breaking through, helping you to feel grounded. We welcome and honor all that is below. As you inhale, drawing energy up through that root system, that grounded root system, into your body as the body of a tree would draw nutrients and energy through the roots, up through the ground. Imagine your breath filling you up with that richness and that vitality, filling up every cell, every fiber of your being, every space. And as you exhale, imagine branches just shooting up and growing out through your shoulders and the crown of your head. Branches reaching far and wide up to the sky, growing leaves to catch the light of the sun. Honoring all that is above, the sky, the stars, our star family, our ancestors. We honor and welcome you, all that is above. And then bringing your awareness to the east, the direction of the rising sun, the element of air, the wind, of the birds and the babies and bees, all the winged ones. We welcome and honor the energy of new beginnings, the rising sun and the air. Welcome. Bringing our energy and awareness to the south, the midday sun, the energy of fire, of passion, of the wolf and the coyote and the snake. We honor and welcome the energy of south and summer. Welcome. Turning our awareness to the west, to the direction of the setting sun. The element of water, the ocean, our tears, our blood, our sweat, our fluids. Water that binds us all together. The setting sun that brings us home to ourselves, the season of fall, of autumn, reaching our queendom and kingdoms and our development of our lives. We welcome and honor the energy of the west, the water, and the setting sun. Welcome. And now bringing your energy and awareness to the north, to the direction of winter, of stillness, of ice, of death, of stones and bones, the element of the earth. The season of winter where we are now on this solstice eve. Just appreciating that dark womb, empty, still energy. The medicine of owl and of bear, of quiet and sleep and death. We welcome and honor the direction of the north and the earth. And so in this space, in this circle that we've cast, just allow yourself to feel all of the directions, above, below, within, without, calling in all parts of the self, all the parts of who you are to be here and to be present. Allowing our eyes to open and to just take in the light and the colors and the textures and whatever is around us. Looking into one another's eyes, whether it be mine or if there's somebody that you're sharing this ceremony with, and just sending a little bit of love through our eyes to one another, of gratitude and of thanks, feeling ourselves expand into this space, expand into all these directions, and take up more space than just your physical body, allowing yourself to expand energetically, to grow and to flow that energy through you. Maybe rolling the shoulders, the head, the neck a little bit. Taking some deep breaths. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about the solstice. For some of you, this might be information that you already know, and just like a sweet reminder of what time of year it is. And for some of you, this is very new information, and so either way, just taking it in and seeing how it resonates with you. I really love following the rhythms of nature. I love learning about myself and understanding energy and cycles and seasons by the reflection that nature gives. And so winter solstice is a very powerful time of year. It's the time of year that we have the shortest day and the longest night, the least amount of light and the most amount of dark. And you know, for a lot of people, especially who live in, you know, the northern hemisphere or the parts of the world where, you know, we really are experiencing a lot of darkness, that can sometimes lead to feeling a bit more in the dark, a bit more in depressed spaces maybe, and it can be difficult for some people. So it's really important that we begin to understand and honor the nature of the medicine when it is maybe a little bit more challenging, so that we can appreciate, we can step more into the space of gratitude and appreciate the gifts that are there, because really our perspective and the way that we manifest and curate our lives and our spaces really influence how we navigate through some of these times. And yeah, whenever we're going through maybe darker times or like a time of transition, it can be really good to be aware of what's going on out in the natural world, and how does nature respond. Like, for example, in the fall, we see the leaves letting go and we see how beautiful that can be, and exploring the idea of, rather than simply seeing loss as something of to be grieved, to also see it as something beautiful to be celebrated, to feel relief and get the weight off, you know. And same with winter. A lot of times people, there's so many parties and so many gatherings and all these things that we can do during the winter time. My cat Spirit. Spirit, say hello. Oh my goodness, this funny cat. She's like, I don't want to be on film. But yes, the time of winter is really teaching us to go within and to be still. It's kind of like when that first snow falls and everything becomes quiet and hushed and still. It's a pretty magical space. And sometimes in our society, in our culture, we feel like we need to be busy all the time, like we need to be doing something. Like, it's not okay to go into our bear cave and wrap up in furry things and get cozy and do not a whole lot in the day. But this is my encouragement as somebody who really recognizes how separated we've become from the rhythms of nature, how important it is to return to that, to return to giving ourselves permission to slow down, you know. And that goes for us as women too, with our monthly blood moon cycles as well, giving ourselves the permission that we need to have rhythms, to, you know, even the body has a circadian rhythm, and there's a natural time in the afternoon when you have your afternoon lull, and you know, they have afternoon siesta in Spain and parts of the world, and yet here in the West, at least, you know, we just go get some coffee and we caffeinate ourselves through the afternoon rather than really listening to that, you know. Or at nighttime, there's all this nightlife and all of this energy, and yet really nature is trying to say, hey, you know, it's night, it's time to settle down and settle in. And so I invite you to explore ritual and to see how you can connect a little bit deeper with the rhythms of nature by bringing ritual and bringing ceremony into your life. You know, the more that we value something, the more valuable it becomes. The more that we see something as sacred, the more sacred it is, and the more potent the medicine is. And that really truly is the nature of magic. Is, you know, the medicine of it comes from our belief, from our intention, from our creation of really infusing something with our love. And the power of the mind is amazing. You know, they do studies that show the placebo effect, for example, is just often as good as taking, you know, the sugar pill. Placebo is just as good as like maybe the real medicine, because people believe that that's what they're taking. And so, you know, a lot of times we can get into this dismissal sort of attitude of something that we don't really understand or can't grasp, and we think, oh, well, that's just woo-woo, you know, stuff over there. But I invite you to open your mind to the unknown and to the power that your intention and your focus has. And so one of the beautiful things to make ritual more exciting and more focused and more energized is to create the sacred space. And so we did that partially by calling in of the directions and using our breath and using grounding techniques. And these are all things that we can do on our own anytime. It's a great way if you're feeling anxious or nervous, to just calm your nervous system down. It's a good time of year to really let yourself drop in and be calmer. Another way that I like to create sacred space is through the sense of smell. Our sense of smell is one of the most powerful effects on our state of being, on our mind. When you smell something, it can just completely alter your state instantaneously. So I have this sweet little box. It's an owl, which is also one of the medicine creatures of this time of year, of the winter. It's a little puzzle box. So you open it up, and inside here I have some resins. This is a blend of frankincense and myrrh. And so if you don't happen to have incense, you know, you can use maybe like a scented oil or just something that you feel like brings you into a state of mind and energy that feels really just calming and lifting of your vibration. I'm going to put it over here. I have this little incense burner. I think if I bring... I was checking to see if I brought my wing so that I could bring some of that, waft it, you know. So this is just a little holder for a charcoal. You can see the little charcoal in there. And I just put the resins on the charcoal. And frankincense and myrrh are very, very sacred resins, sacred oils. And so wherever you are, just finding some way that you can work with the magic of scents to bring you into a sacred space. Scents are oftentimes used to cleanse the energy field and wash away all that needs to go. So for our little Soulstice temple, I wanted to share also why I decided to create a journey for discovering a sigil. So I was meditating at one of my temple Tuesdays that I do for the sisters about what does the winter mean to each of us, and we were each taking a moment to pause and see what it was that the winter meant for us. And really collaboratively what we came up with was just the idea that it is very deeply feminine this time of year. You know, the dark and is often associated with the womb, with the more receptive feminine energy, and part of that is our intuition. You know, a lot of times in this time and this society we can be very heady and, you know, try and like penetrate with our thoughts and figure things out and come from a space of doing rather than quieting ourselves and slowing down and really listening for answers. And so a drum journey is often used by different people, whether it be shamans or medicine men and women all around the world, to go into kind of a trance-like space and really into a space of deep listening. Bluetooth connected. And seeing what answers we might find in those unknown spaces and in those subconscious spaces. And so that was one of the energies that I wanted to explore, was that feminine, receptive, intuitive, exploratory journey, because I feel like we don't get enough opportunities to really practice it or think about it. And so with that being said, even though, you know, we're having a journey this evening with doing the drum journey, just know that this is a great time of year, whether you're using a drum or not, to practice using your intuition and getting quiet and just listening more. And one of the other things that came up with this idea of like, what does the winter solstice remind you of, is the idea of going within. And, you know, not being all out and about in the scene, but really you're listening, you're going within, you're staying more in your home space, in your home environment. And so I really started thinking a lot about home and how we oftentimes don't really give our homes as much love and respect and honor as they deserve. And there's I don't know if you've heard of her, but there's this beautiful little cleaning fairy priestess, Marie Kondo, who has a show on Netflix, Marie Kondo Cleans Up, and she goes into the homes and helps people organize and, you know, clear out their home spaces. But one of the very first things that she does when she goes into a home is she introduces herself and, you know, communicates with the home and gives a blessing to the home. And yeah, just kind of makes that connection there. And I thought that that's really beautiful, this idea in magical thought that our homes have their own sort of spirit and energy to them. They hold so much. They hold our lives, all of the feelings and emotions and dramas that we go through. And so it can be really good to tend to these homes that carry us, and not only the home that we live in, but also, you know, our body home that we live in, right? This is like our true home. So really seeing how can we tend these spaces? How can we tend them not only in ways that we think they should be tended, but actually ask them as if they have their own voice, waking up each day and putting our hands on our body and saying hello to our bodies and thank you to our bodies, and asking what we can do to honor and protect these spaces. And same for the home, you know, like hello, beautiful home. Thank you so much for your warmth. Thank you so much for your shelter and your protection. How can I give to you today? What do you need? So yeah, when I originally had that temple with my sisters, we really explored like, okay, well, maybe we could make a blessing for the home, and that could be the magical symbol that we create is based off of a blessing for the home. But really, when you go on a drum journey to find whatever that blessing is, it could be a blessing for the home and the body. It could be a blessing specifically that you want for a loved one or a friend. But that's kind of the motivation for why I decided to do this. And I just want to give a shout out as well to my sister, Emily Ra, who I believe was the first one who showed me sigil work. Since then, I've learned from a few different people, different styles. But I'm going to go ahead and teach you how to do this the way that I was originally taught by my sister Emily Ra. So get a pen and paper, that'll be important. Feel free to take a moment and pause and go get that and come back. And also, if you happen to have a shaker or a drum and you want to join along on the journey with your instrument, you can do that as well. If you don't have an instrument, you can use your hand on your heart and create sort of like a heart drum beat. But what you're essentially allowing yourself to do is to use whatever instrument to sort of carry you into a trance-like space. And while you're in that trance-like space, you are going to imagine kind of like you're fishing. When you're fishing, you're not chasing after that fish. You're throwing the line out and waiting for something to catch. So essentially, when you're going on the drum journey, you're casting a line out. You're kind of sending an inquiry out, at least for the one that we're going to do. I'm sure there's lots of different kinds of journeys. Also, a shout out to Shaman Etno Shop, this beautiful Siberian drum from my amazing medicine sister Olga. She hand paints these drums depicted after ancient Siberian art, sometimes found on the walls of the caves. This is the Tree of Life. There's some little dragons up here, little antelope, little dragons down here as well. So much medicine in this drum. I love it. I wrapped it up in furs to keep it cozy. All right, so basically we're just gonna drum or rattle or beat on our chest for a little while, and you're just gonna go searching for the question, what is the blessing that I'm looking for? Maybe it's just a few words, a sentence. Try and keep it short. It'll make it easier for creating the sigil. So I'll go ahead and begin drumming, and I'll stop talking for a while. And, let your eyes close. Let yourself trance out. Try as much as possible to let your mind be like a river going by at a little bit of a distance. And to let yourself listen and let whatever blessing arises arise. And so slowly coming back into the present and grabbing your pen and paper and just taking some time to write down your blessing that you received. You may not have come out with it fully in a clear space, so just take a moment and we'll check back in when we have our blessings written out, and I'll show you the next step. Okay, so hopefully at this point you have your blessing written down, or whatever the message was that came through. For me, I really got a lot of feeling of when, like, the elders, the wisdom keepers, those who have seen a lot, you know, like thinking about our homes, like thinking about this home that I'm in right now. It's been here since I think like 1920s or something, and just thinking of all that it's seen just in that amount of time, and thinking about the old trees and stones that have really been around for all sorts of goings on in the world and all the seasons, and you know, thinking of our elderly family and just, you know, human brothers and sisters in this life, and the idea of respecting the elders, and you know, it's just kind of honoring what comes with age, honoring what comes with having a lot of experience. There's a certain knowing that, and a certain beauty and medicine that is carried by the elders. And so the message that came through for me was honor the wisdom keepers. And so in the style that I first learned, and there's different ways you can do this, but the first thing that you'll do is you'll cross out all of the vowels. So all of the vowels would be, of course, A, E, I, O, and U. And so here you can see I've scratched out the O's, the E, I, O, and some more E's. Okay, so then the next thing that we're gonna look for, and we're basically like whittling this down so that there's less shapes to work with, because we're going to make shapes from the remaining letters. So at this point we're going to look for any repeating letters. So for example, here's H at the beginning of honor, and then there's another H inside of the, and so we're now going to remove both H's. So if there's any repeating letters, then you remove all of those letters. So both H's have now been removed. And now we're going to look at the next one, N, honor the wisdom keeper. So N, there's no other repeating, so that stays. Okay, R, there's no R in the or wisdom, but there's an R in keepers, so we're going to remove both of the R's. And then T for the, we don't see T repeating anywhere. W, we also don't see it repeating anywhere. S, we do, wisdom and keepers. So we're removing the S. And then let's see here, D, we're keeping. M, we're keeping. And it looks like P. So, and K. All right, that's a lot of letters. Usually there's not a lot left over, but you definitely might need to look over it a couple of times just to make sure. So we have N, I have N, T, W, M, K, and P. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's probably the most letters I've ever had. I usually end up with like 4 or 5, sometimes 3. But this time I had 6 letters. Now, it doesn't really matter if they're uppercase or lowercase. You can explore different ways of putting them together, but essentially what you're going to try and do is you're going to try and combine these letters in a way that creates a cool looking symbol. So let's see here. Let me show you an example of that. I'm gonna go grab a book, something hard to write on. Okay, I grabbed Dragonology. So I have my hard surface and I'm trying to combine, let me just write this on the top of this paper, NTW MKP, NTW MKP. So those are my letters that I'm working with. And so, let's see here. I might go like this and start out with, let's say I start out with W and I make it kind of fancy like this. All right. And then I add an M up here, right here. I create sort of like an interesting little M shape in there. So now I've taken care of the W and the M. Okay, and then let's say I put the K. Let's say I put the K over here and I bring this like this. And that's a K over here using this. So that one's taken off. And then let's say I wanted to add the T up here. Maybe straight out of the center. And maybe this could be a kind of a trippy T. That one's taken care of. So I have N and P. So maybe I could put P here like this. And finally N. Where should I put the N? Maybe. Maybe that's the N here, like that. And so then that would be my magical sigil. And I could sit and sort of like get really, really fancy with it and just kind of like fill it in. Now I did curly cues. You don't have to do curly cues. There's no particular way of doing the artistry part of it. It's more of like what your eye prefers. But after I'm done creating this, I would have a really beautiful magical symbol, right? And this could be given as a gift. This could be used to do magic work and meditate upon. And of course, always remembering what was the message that created it, and like really infuse it as you're maybe going over the lines. And see if you could really infuse it with the magic of your medicine journey, of your drum journey, and the beautiful message you received. And you could put this on really cool paper if you wanted to. You know, maybe like if I wanted to take this and I think I had a pair of scissors. Here they are. If I wanted to take this and cut it out. and give this to somebody as a gift and let them know about the drum journey or the experience that I went on, and that this symbol means to honor the wisdom keepers. And you can get as fancy as you want. You can do it on black paper with gold paint. You can frame it. You can paint it on your wall. Get a tattoo. Really, it's up to you, what you end up doing. You can throw it in the fire and do alchemical magic with it. Whatever feels right for you. And, if you didn't get it quite this first time, feel free to do it again and again and explore. And, I've been doing these for a little while, so coming up with a cool looking way of putting the letters together can take a few tries. Like, maybe you'll throw the letters together initially and it'll just look kind of jumbled, and you won't really be that lit up by the symbol itself. And so give yourself permission to be awkward. Give yourself permission to mess up. Give yourself permission to explore, to practice, and try different ways and different things. And really, the more that we do anything, the more comfortable we get with it. And so I hope that this can be a really fun practice and a fun journey for you. It can be something that could be just special and just for you alone as a practice to even do the drum journey without needing to come back with any kind of like a magical sigil or a message, but maybe just see where it takes you. You can go in with a certain intention or question in mind, and that can be very specific, but you can also go into a space that's really, really open and willing to see what wants to come through. That's up to you. But yeah, this is a beautiful time of year, not only to slow down, but to practice more of those arts of intuition, of listening, getting really quiet, and yeah, just letting yourself be, letting yourself explore what might want to come through when you are in that listening space. And there's lots of different ways to explore it. You can light a candle and look at the candle or watch the fire. You can sing, you can drum, you can look in the water. You can do it with movement, going into a trance dance. So yes, I hope you find all the warm and cozy things to do. And of course, after winter solstice, we are celebrating the return of the light, of the sunlight. So not only honoring that dark womb cave that we're in right now, but also appreciating that the light is returning. We've gotten through the darkest day after tonight, or the darkest night, the longest night. I don't know if it's the darkest, but it's the longest. So in honor of the returning of more light into our lives, I light this candle and this lantern. And I appreciate you for coming with me on this journey. If you are interested in more, you can always follow me, Safana Wild, on Facebook and Instagram. For both men and women, I do ceremonies at the Lighthouse Temple in Portland, Oregon. And for women, sisters, female-bodied, I do sister circles and sister moon ritual arts. And so if you're not already connected to that and want to be, go ahead and find the group Sister Moon Ritual Art Circle, or reach out and I can send you a link. This was my solstice gift and offering to you. I am definitely open to receiving support and offerings in abundance my way. So if this was something that filled you up and you feel like you want to give something back, I'll leave my Venmo in the description, and it's basically at Safana Wild on Venmo and on PayPal. And any contribution, any offering is so deeply appreciated. And, you know, I know especially for us artists and single parents that, you know, we're always working on how we can find that balance between making or getting our needs met and also like relaxing and allowing ourselves to have peace and to have joy and to slow down. So for all those that have and will support me, I say thank you so much. And even if that support is just through the form of your watching this video and your love and your appreciation, that counts too. Feel free to share this with anyone, and I really hope that you have a beautiful winter solstice. And just remember that even though it might be really dark in more ways than one, there's always the choice to see through the lens of beauty and to glean the wisdom and step into a space of empowered choice and empowered action and be our own peacekeepers inside of ourselves and our own best friends. We are the best home. Our soul chose this body, and I hope that we can each find every day ways that we can honor ourselves in this life to a deeper and greater degree. So thank you for sitting with me. I appreciate you. I love you. I hope you have a super cozy night and do something really sweet and yummy. Maybe make some tea or something. Listen to some soft music. Light a candle. Alright. Blessed be.